Hello, welcome back to Lamatique. I'm back again with some junk journal flip-throughs. I have some VHS cover journal flip-throughs today. These are two Disney classics. I've got Snow White and Bambi, so let's just start with Snow White. Put Bambi off to the side. Okay, so first I have the clasp, the dangle, on a little bolt clip. There are some different charms, some birds, a resin rose, a little glass leaf, an owl, an acorn, a yellow rose, and a little green apple. This one is attached, this part is attached to the big clip, and then this one is on its own little clip. Here is the cover. It is the VHS cover, and the closure is just some elastic with a button. So here is that VHS cover. Then there's a little label spot here. Extra paper on the spine for reinforcement. And there is the back. Okay, let's jump right in. So here in the front, I have some sticky notes. There's a couple of these and a couple of the little porcupine. I thought it was cute because it had the little red apple on his head. Here is a sticker of Snow White. The little animals around her. Little forest creatures. This beautiful scrapbook paper with the gold accents. There's a pocket here in the front. We've got a little label of an apple, a Valentine, Snow White Valentine, a little vintage reprint of how to draw a squirrel, and a little Snow White coloring page from one of those little kids' activity books. Here's a page from a Snow White book. With Snow White, and then I've got this paper attached to the next sheet, so it kind of looks like she's walking in the woods, like the woods kind of continue. This is from not like the official Snow White story, but another Snow White story, but it is still a Disney Snow White book. This thick blue paper here, this is pretty thick, and then I've sewn a picture of a garden on there. And on the other side, there's a little stamp, and you can see the sew lines. Some hand-dyed paper. It's very light, but there were some animals on there. I think there's like a wolf right there, but you can barely see it on the yellow. Green landscape line papers. There's a little squirrel sticker down there on the bottom. Coloring book page, pretty garden scene. That's one of those coloring books with the print on the other side. So there's some bees and flowers on the other side. Here's a little handmade journaling card I made. Snow White down there on the bottom. This beautiful paper that went with the kit. All the paper in this one is from the same kit. I thought this was really pretty because it had a little bit of blue and the red and yellow, and that's kind of like the Snow White colors. It's colors of her outfit. This side, there is this little Snow White sticker. Just a little tag, a little red tag. In the pocket here, there are 3 different colored index cards, a paint chip, some stickers, 3 sheets of this little note page with the bird on the bottom, and 3 of this note paper with the like flowers. It's like, looks like flowers in blue and pink. I'm going to have to take that off to get everything back in the pocket. So the pocket is not fully closed. I leave that open so you can decide if you want to still use it as a pocket. Or some people like to fold it out and journal on it. Okay. Then there's a page from like a children's workbook, Snow White. Sticker down here and a sewn on label and another little sticker of a bird. Sticker with little mushrooms on it. A couple index cards with some stamps on it. This blue paper is a very heavy paper. And there's a little reprint of a vintage print. Some squirrels and a bird. It's on this really nice, like, textured cardstock. It is almost like a watercolor feel. I like printing on that. It comes out really pretty. More of that hand-dyed paper, and there you can kind of see the dare. Little butterfly stamp. Green paper, again with the landscape and little mushroom sticker. A page from another book with flowers in that, but I thought this one was cute because it's got the apples on the bottom. Some tiny ephemeras over here and a sticker. Just some little tiny ephemera pieces. There's the gold on this scrapbook paper again. That's a nice weight scrapbook paper. It's a faux envelope. I sewed the little daisies to it. There's a Snow White sticker. And there's the other side. Another picture from a different Snow White book with the 7 dwarves. And then again, I've sewn a landscape image onto the next page, so it kind of looks like the picture continues. So there's still room to write on this page anyway, even though I sewn this. And you can always add stickers and more notes on top of there. Here's the other side. It's got a little stamp again. The hand-dyed paper. You can see some, like a feather and a mushroom. A little Snow White sticker on that green page. Coloring book page, a Snow White riding a horse. A different Snow White book page. This is like a big book, but it was the actual Snow White story. So there's that picture. The prince is going to kiss Snow White and wake her up. A handmade journaling card or bookmark. This one was made on the back of a time card. Well, out of a time card. There's a little fussy cut of Dopey. Just some tags on this side, cut from the paper that I used in this book. And a butterfly sticker. Hold on 1 minute. Let me wait for the noise. Sorry about that. I have the windows open and the garbage man was going by. Nobody wants to hear all that noise. The other side of the coloring book page. Landscape. Hand-dyed. More sewing. With more of a scene. More scenery from just from a book. The other side of the Snow White. A little thank you note card with the envelope. And then there's some little die-cut bunnies inside. More tags cut from the paper I used in the book. Another little mushroom sticker. I'm out of frame. You can see the sewing on this side. I sewed an apple to this side because she's biting into the apple right here. Here's some more apple die cuts. It's a little note card. A couple sheets, 2 little sheets of red paper. Whoops, I had that upside down. 3 sheets of this note paper and 3 sheets of this note paper. On this side, there's a couple vintage reprints. So this one is how to draw again, and there's like a bear and a raccoon. Here's one of those reprints of a vintage picture on that heavy watercolor type paper, but it's not watercolor. I love how it comes out. It gives it this really interesting look, like it's almost like a painting. There's a flower sticker there. The other side of the coloring book. Another little sticker. More sewing with a stamp. More of that pictures from a garden book. And landscapes in that. The other side of the book page. Here is another little journal card I made. It's a picture cut from a different book. And I sewed that onto here. I left the back mostly blank so you could write, and then there's just one little butterfly stamp. On the other side here, we have one of these. I found these envelopes at the thrift store the other day. They're really narrow and kind of long, and I just thought they were interesting. They're made of a very, like, almost like a textured paper. They're very interesting and a nice soft feeling, so I put one of those in here. And then this is a Snow White playing card. And we have a little fussy cut of a Grumpy. A flash card. An actual photograph of some ducks at the zoo. A print. I just thought this was cute because it had like the little house in the middle of the forest. Kind of reminded me of Snow White. This is a piece of the scrapbook paper I used. This had this really nice image on here, so I cut it down like a large journaling card for you and rounded the corners. And then there is a piece of scrapbook paper that just looked pretty and would go in here. Just something for you to create with. So that is all tucked in the back pocket. Here's the print in the back. And I think that came out really nice. I really enjoyed that one. A little bit different take there with the color scrapbook paper I used, but I liked it. And then we have the Bambi. Let me set this out of the way. And here we have Bambi. So here's Bambi's dangle. She's got a little resin deer hanging from the acorn, and that's attached to the large clip. And then on a smaller clip, we have a little butterfly, some resin flowers, a little feather, and a little pine cone. This also has the elastic with a button. This one has a flower button. So here is the insert VHS cover. There's a label there for you to label it. Extra paper on the spine. And here is the back cover. So in the front, again, we have some little sticky notes. I've got a frog and some clouds. A little sticker there. I like this one because it had antlers. this beautiful scrapbook paper. And then there's a pocket here. There's a little playing card with some nuts, some little card game. This is a vintage postcard from Disney, I believe. But it's, you know, that like lenticular, or I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But it has like a 3D effect where it looks like you could reach into the picture. A little how to draw an owl card. It's a reprint of a vintage. And then this little page from a Disney book is just foresty, so I thought that was pretty. On the other side, it does have somebody else's, some other Disney character's background. But here I thought the forest was pretty. Could use that in here. The Bambi. A book page with a garden. Some hand-dyed paper with a stencil. There's a feather and some mushrooms, some foliage. Then here in this book I did the same thing where I sewed some book pages to this. This paper is really heavy again too. It's a really heavy, nice weight paper. So I did that again. I thought that was really pretty. So I continued that one in this book. And then so you can see the sewing on the other side. And then there's a little stamp. Green landscape. Coloring book page. Handmade journaling card. And here is a pocket as well. Got some different colored index cards, a paint chip, some stickers, that same little paper with the bird, and then this note paper. There's 3 pages of each of those. Bambi sticker from a Disney book. A pink gift tag, a Bambi book page, hand-dyed paper again. Here's the deer. Here's that page. A little sewing and stamping. Some index cards with some stamps on them. On the other side, so you can see the sewing. There's a little sticker and some stamping. Again, it's that paper that's like got the watercolor texture to it. And that is another vintage print. And the flower sticker. Pink graph paper. This pink graph paper is so pretty. Another coloring book page with a little deer and the birds and the foliage. I mean, it's like perfect, almost Bambi. It's almost like it was from a Bambi coloring book or something. It was really cute. Some tiny ephemeras and a butterfly sticker. Beautiful green scrap paper there. Scrapbooking paper. Faux envelope, again with some daisies. It's got flower down there. Book page with the forest. I just thought that went pretty. More dyeing with stenciling. You can see like a pine tree and a mountain and some antlers. Disney coloring book page. Little Bambi coloring book page. More of that sewn on imagery from books. This one had a pretty garden. And then there's a little butterfly sticker, mushroom sticker, and a little stamping, and you can see that sewing. Here's the center. The large Bambi photo. Then this is an altered time card again. I thought that came out really pretty. More tags with the paper that was the paper from this book that I used in this book. So they're all cut from the different papers that I used. The different scrapbook papers, I'm sorry, I used in this book. Like this scrapbook paper and this scrapbook paper. So it's all cut from those. And then there's the 3 different sizes, and then there's a butterfly sticker. More mushrooms. More sewing. Little bunny at the bottom. The other side of that forest picture. It's got the same little greeting card because it had the deer. I couldn't resist. There are some little die-cut pine trees because of the forest. The envelope is there. More tags. 3 different sizes. Let's see the sewing. There's the little sewn image down there. Some mushrooms. Moose and like a bear. Some little die-cut bunnies. There are 2 pages of this pink lined paper. There are 3 pages of this note paper. There are 3 pages of the little pink. And then just a journaling card. It says weekly to do. That pocket is never just going to let me wiggle it back in. Oh, that came from the other side, I think. Yep. And on this side, there is another print of some deer on that same textured paper or cardstock. How to draw a bunny. Put that sticker back in there. The other side of the coloring book. More sewing from the other side. A little butterfly sticker. More wilderness. The hand dyed. There's a little fawn. Some mushrooms. The other side of that garden page. Here's a hand dyed journaling card for this one. And there's Thumper, the bunny. And I put the forest picture behind it. And on the other side, there's a little bunny sticker and a stamp. On this side, again, there's one of those envelopes and this squirrel card, which I just thought was really cute and went in here cute. Matched with the Bambi theme. In the back here, there is a little Bambi ephemera. It's one of those tucked into the VHS itself. Oh, advertisement, that's the word I was looking for. A little print of some woods. A picture of a raccoon eating some bread. An offcut, well, a cutout from a book where it's got this nice forest picture. I thought you could use that in there to create. A little piece of scrapbook paper, and then this coloring page of a squirrel. I really thought this was really pretty. I love that squirrel. And then it's got another side to it too as well. But I put it in there for the squirrel. I thought the squirrel was really cute. And that is all tucked in the back pocket. And that is the end of that. So I hope you enjoyed my flip through today. My 2 Disney classics made from the VHS covers. They both have Disney book pages in them. I really enjoyed making these. I like making the ones with the VHS covers. They're just such beautiful artwork, and it's just going to get thrown away. Nobody really uses VHSs anymore. A lot of them go into the garbage, so I think it's nice that I can rescue the art from them and turn them into nice little journals. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and tell me what you thought in the comments below. Thank you. Have a great day.